It's her right to decide. This is something central to a woman's life, to her dignity. It's a decision that she must make for herself.
The ruling of Roe v. Wade marked a pivotal moment in women's reproductive rights. The ruling of this case guaranteed a woman their right to an abortion and established their right to make their own decisions regarding their pregnancy. Now, the ruling from Roe v. Wade is under attack, affecting the rights of women to make their own decisions across the country. Conservative states such as Texas, Florida, and Massachusetts have passed strict abortion bans challenging a woman's right to bodily autonomy. After Texas passed a strict 6-week abortion ban, Florida is joining the state passing a 15-week abortion ban with no exceptions for rape or incest. Restricting abortion access hurts young and low-income women. Banning abortions does not stop them from happening and only prevents safe ones from occurring. Here in this upcoming video, we can see the negative impacts abortion bans such as the one placed in Texas have on women seeking abortions.
Nearly 2 weeks since the highly restrictive abortion law took effect in Texas, and we're learning more about how not being able to get an abortion can affect a person's life and health for years after. Our latest NBC News report takes a closer look at this and finds the impact of the law is already being felt. At the Whole Woman's Health Clinic in Fort Worth, the number of daily procedures dropped from an average of 66 to just 11. Doctors say most patients looking to get an abortion are now ineligible. Joining us now to take a look at those numbers and the long-term impact of this law on patients' well-being is NBC News digital reporter Chloe Atkins. So, Chloe, first of all, tell us, what have you learned from people in Texas about abortion access since this law took effect?
Hey, Joe. So since the law took effect, we've seen a wave of abortion patients leaving the state of Texas. So they're going to places like Oklahoma, New Mexico, and even as far as Illinois. But it's not the reality for all Texans. Not everyone can leave the state of Texas to get care. It's just not in the cards for them because, you know, of circumstantial or even financial challenges. So we're talking about cost of travel, difficulty taking time off from work, or even securing childcare. And one provider told me that patients and staff are really struggling. And most of the patients that they're seeing, they are not eligible to get care in the state of Texas, which they say will likely lead to an uptick in people having to carry an unwanted pregnancy to term, which they will feel the impact of that for years to come.
We're going to take a look at physical and mental health risks in just a moment, but you also took a closer look at how being turned away for an abortion can have a serious impact on economic hardship. What did you find, and how likely are people to even fall into poverty as a result of not being able to get an abortion?
So carrying an unwanted pregnancy to term impacts folks in a variety of ways, like you just said, but one big one is economic hardship. So people of all socioeconomic backgrounds get abortions, but about half of people who are obtaining an abortion already live below the poverty level. So when someone is already struggling financially and they are denied care, it puts them in an even tougher economic situation. One study found that people who are denied care were more likely to live below the poverty level, experience, debt, bankruptcy, and even evictions compared to those who are able to get care. And I want to, really highlight that it's not the year-over-year financial responsibility of having a child, but when you don't have certainty over your family planning, it can really impact your career trajectory and even your education completion. So it really impacts people in many ways, economically speaking.
And let's talk about physically, what are the risks that people could face? And for victims of domestic violence, there's also a mental health toll, right?
So being denied an abortion can lead to a significant increase in anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, especially in the months after being denied care. But it also can increase life-threatening physical health outcomes. So patients who carry an unwanted pregnancy to term are more likely to describe their health as poor and reported higher rates of chronic pain compared to those who are able to get an abortion. And these outcomes are linked to pregnancy risks. so like postpartum depression, gestational diabetes, and even hypertension. And I also want to underscore, when you're talking about physical and mental health, a lot of these patients have domestic violence going on in their life. It's very common. And so in the short term, a person who is turned away from getting an abortion, they're more likely to stay connected with a violent partner, which can take a huge mental and physical toll on them, not just short term, but for the years to come as well.
All right, Chloe Atkins. Chloe, thank you for your reporting.
The reality is that abortion bans impact every type of person. But as you mentioned, those who have access to means will find a way to express bodily autonomy, have that agency, and decide the outcome of their pregnancy. It's going to be those of no wealth, those who are people of color, undocumented, folks with disabilities, minors, folks who live in foster care. These are going to be the populations of Floridians who will truly have no other alternative and are going to be either forced to travel out of state or forced to become parents, which they know they're not ready or they don't wish to pursue.
As a woman of color, a wife, and a mom of 3, this bill is taking away the access and choice that people in this state should respectfully have.
Abortion is essential. Hands up our bodies. Hands up our bodies. My body is my own. Hands up our bodies.
We need to understand that this is a decision that is meant to be up to the person making the decision and should not be intervened by state politicians who knew nothing about what we're going through and why we may need an abortion.
Abortion matters for all of us. It's freedom, it's liberation, it's our right. Abortion is essential.
Abortion is healthcare.
Healthcare is a right.
Abortion is healthcare.
Healthcare is a right.
Abortion is healthcare.
Healthcare is a right.
It's a very personal decision, and one day I want to make that decision out of my own free will, not because a governmental body will tell me that I have to have a child.
When abortion is under attack, what do we do? Stand up. Healthcare. Abortion is healthcare. Stand up. If we don't get it, shut it down.
There should be no room, no right for anyone, especially any politician, and more specifically any male politician, to interfere in that very intimate moment and tell a woman what to do.
If you or someone you know needs an abortion, you are not alone. Go to PlannedParenthood.org or contact 1-800-230-7529 to find your local Planned Parenthood Health Center for abortion resources.
It is so exhausting trying to find new ways to beg you to hear my pleas to protect my right to choose.